Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hi, hey everybody. Put one in the chat if you can hear me clearly. And we are going to get started. Okay, I ain't gonna ask you nothing else. We good. You can hear me, and that's good. So today we're gonna blow open the myth of the successful Black woman, because we're gonna have to redefine what we mean by success as Black women. What in the heck does success even mean to us? What are we talking about when we talk about success? Y'all hate it when your glasses is foggy for no reason. I might do it without my glasses if I can look at the screen this long. Did y'all get notifications? Because I'm looking at my numbers and they don't look right. Anyway. Thank you, Barry Little, said debunking the gynocracy one broadcast at a time. Yes, yes, yes. We are debunking the gynocracy one broadcast at a time. Thank you so much, Barry Little, for kicking off the contribution. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Lou Casey, for the super sticker. Thank you, sweetheart. Y'all like my henna? I got my henna done by a wonderful young lady here in New York. And shout out to her. Her company is called Henna Dreddy. And she's here in New York. So if you ever are in New York or you live in New York and you want some henna done, it's Henna Dreddy. Like with a D, like dreads. Henna Dreddy. Very, very nice young lady. Very kind young lady. I ended up giving her the only copy of the book that I had with me. Hey, BJ, what's going on? Bishop, the Bishop is in the house. Thank you. You can't see me. Say congrats on your marriage. It's been a while since I caught you live. By the way, I was in your city last week on business. Oh, you was in the Chi last week? That's awesome. Hope you got you some Garrett's popcorn and some home run in pizza. See, everybody talk about Giordano's. Home run in is the best Chicago-based pizza. Period. But thank you so much. You can't see me. I really appreciate. Really appreciate. Thank you, C. When y'all come to Chicago, this the food y'all gotta get. Garrett's Chicago mixed popcorn. That's number one. You got to get you an Italian beef dipped. Okay? Got to get you an Italian beef dipped. Right? And you got to get some wings with lemon pepper and mild sauce on them. Now, if you want pizza, my high suggestion is home run in. Sure, there are other pizza places that taste decent. Home run in. Now, home run in sells a thin crusted pizza, more like a New York pizza. They the home of the square slice of pizza. If you ain't never had a square slice of pizza, that's where you go. If you want Chicago deep dish, you got to go to Giordano's. If you want the Chicago deep dish. Okay? Now, if you want wings, you got several choices. If you don't want to look around at the hood places, Baba's, you could go to other hood places that are more well-known, like Harold's or Uncle Remus. Now, I ain't ate there in forever, but okay. Go to Harold's on the south side. Is it Harold's in Hyde Park? That's real good. See, y'all know the Chicago spots. Y'all need somebody from Chicago to show you around. And you need your lemon pepper, and you need your mild sauce on the wings, not on the side. Only tourists get it on the side. Everybody else gets mild sauce on the wings. You want them drenched in on the wings. If your wings are not wet slightly from the mild sauce, that's not enough mild sauce. But you definitely want an Italian beef. When I say dip, they take the whole sandwich and dip it in the beef water, the warm, peppery beef water. It's a quick dip to get the bread, because Italian bread kind of is crusty. So you want to get see, y'all don't understand. New York is the closest place for food that compared to Chicago. Because Chicago got every cuisine that you can think of around the world. Chicago got it. New York is the only place I've been that compares to that on a food level. Now, you want you a Polish? You got to go to Jewtown. I'm sorry. Portillo's, I ain't never ate at Portillo's, but Portillo's is a big Chicago place. I ain't knocking Portillo's, but I'm saying if you want the Polish with the little serrano pepper on the side and the sauteed onion, caramelized onions with the French fries with the skin on them, that's Jewtown. That's on Maxwell. We call it old school. We call that Jewtown. That's Jewtown. That's Jewtown. They don't call it Jewtown no more, but that's Jewtown. Thank you, sauce and mild sauce pizza puffs. Italian beefs. Yeah, not Italian, not Italian beefs, but Italian beef. Italian beef, gyros. Maxwell's better for the Polish though, especially off 79. See, I like to go to the original over there on Halsted by the expressway. You understand? Okay. Now we ain't eat no white folk food because a lot of Chicagoans is from the South, or our parents is Southern. It's a lot of Southern food up here. We got every cuisine. I'm telling you, we got Southern, Black, soul food, every kind of Asian food, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, every kind of African food. We have every European food, French, all of it, Irish, all of it. We got Italian, all of it, like authentic Italian. We got all of them, all the food. Chicago has all the food. I do like Philly cheesesteaks. Chicago has all the food. But that's enough about food. Thank you, Saul. Say y'all tripping. Y'all don't hear the Chicago, Mississippi accent. Exactly. They tripping off. Come on. Thank you. Say you summoned the deacon talking about the food, though. Yeah, see the food is on point in Chicago. Well, B said big facts on the wings. Thank you. On the wings. So what about Harold's? Yeah, Harold's. R.O. Thank you. Says there really such a thing as Black women's success when Black men are not at their best. Thanks for all you do and being true, Crimson Cure. Thank you so much. Okay, let me actually get to the cook. Yeah, I heard about Blimpie's, never been there. We got Sbarro's in Chicago. Thank you, David said, congratulations on your marriage and hitting 100K. Now let's get to 200K. Exactly. YouTube is kind of tripping on that, but we're not going to trip. We're not going to trip because I got to get back into my element so I can give y'all what you really want and we can do away with all this struggle streaming we've been doing. But let me actually get to what's going on here. I gotta have a little fun with y'all. Y'all sitting here through a struggle stream, so I gotta have a little fun with y'all. Okay, but we done with that. Let's get to what we really want to talk about. I did at least 3 videos on Ebony K. Kilpatrick. The successful Black woman is a myth. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. The successful Black woman is a myth. So thank you once again, Sauce at Crimson. Good about lots of things, but Remus is better than Harold's. I haven't eaten in either of them in probably 30 years. So people who eat at them more often is they're more qualified. I didn't eat at neither one of them. When I was eating like non-halal chicken, I wasn't eating at neither one of them. I'll tell you where I got my chicken from. If you've been on the west side, the chicken shack that didn't used to have no name on it, it was just a trailer right off Madison and Cicero. And it was just a trailer. It was just a container. It was a container, like a truck container restaurant. And all they did was cook wings in there. Wings and gizzards. Wings and gizzards. That's all it was. And it was better than both of them. It was better than Remus. It was better than Harold's. It was better than all of them. Chicken Shack. That's what we called it. Chicken Shack, because it didn't have no name. It was just two black men in there frying chicken. I swear, that was the best chicken ever. Thank you, Real Bravado. So Kendra, the Women's Law Center puts black women's net worth at $200 that include college-educated women. So why the cap that our women have more than black men? It's a lot of cap, Real Bravado. A lot of cap. CBP know what I'm talking about? Chicken Shack. Ain't no chicken better than the Chicken Shack. Sorry. Thank you, Quiet Storm. Said, yup, Chicken Shack right up the street from barbecue spot on Cicero and Erie. Right, because they shut down Coleman's. Coleman's is where you used to get your rib tips and your steak sandwiches. Stop playing with me. I've been around a minute. Coleman's don't exist no more. Coleman's don't. They shut Coleman's down a long time ago. Coleman's used to be where you got your rib tips. You understand that? Your whole thing, a whole mess of ribs and rib tips. I don't know that the Chicken Shack is still there, CBP. I don't think it is. Or I think it's another place that's right there. I don't think that's the same old Chicken Shack. So black women are not successful. First problem is that black women measure their success in masculine terms. They measure their success by a white supremacist system. Okay? A white supremacist system is what black women gauge their success on, whether or not they are successful. I'm putting it in quotes because there are several things wrong with measuring ourselves on that scale. First of all, like I said, it is a masculine scale. Black women they project onto black men as though black men are always competing with them with education and jobs and this and that. Black men do not compete with black women on that. You don't hear nearly as many black men getting on social media, getting on these platforms, getting on these panels, trying to talk about, oh, we went to school, we got this degree. You know, they ain't always somewhere.
Since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing,
they not always somewhere up there talking about that. Okay? That's black women that love to go to the different statistics about education, quote unquote, about having jobs, about getting degrees, and all of this other stuff. They like to do that because they are comparing themselves and their success to black men's success and saying that they are outworking or out earning or having a better educational experience than black men. Ebony K just did it. She tried to back foot and backpedal off of what she was talking about. I was talking about black empowerment. No, you were talking that foolishness and you were trying to bring up statistics that were actually not true about how more or how better educated black women were based on how many degrees they were getting and all of that type of stuff. Let's talk about the problem with the degree talk. Because when Dr. Umar, and you know, aside from the whole school situation, when he get to talking about this society, white supremacy and things like that, there's not a lot that I disagree with him on. Okay. And I agreed with him on his assessment of what Ebony K said. When he said, I heard a lot of elitism and I heard a lot of pushing for the degree. Now, this is another reason why Black women need to stop it with the degree thing. Y'all sound stupid to people that know better about those degrees. Y'all don't sound smart. It's not the flex you think it is. Going and saying how Black women are going to these educational institutions and getting these little certifications and these little degrees and these little licenses and all that type of stuff, that's not the flex that you think that it is. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why that's not a flex. Because the degree is a debt trap. And this is how y'all don't really get it. Y'all don't understand money. Y'all don't understand wealth. Y'all don't understand mobility. You don't understand education or profession. You all do not understand any of the extra. See, Black women, you can't be successful when you lack a working knowledge of all 10 of these areas. You don't understand the external value of anything. Okay? So you don't understand mobility. You don't understand education, how it is presented in this country as a trap. You don't understand profession and how that's not really a pathway to wealth. You don't understand leisure because you put leisure in front of everything because you want to be able to kick your toe up and swirl your hair and not do nothing. And wealth, you have a complete misunderstanding about how it is acquired, how it is maintained, and how it is to be what kind of expenditures you must have in order to maintain wealth. You don't understand wealth because you don't understand generational wealth. The poverty mindset is rife with Black women. So you don't understand the 5 external values. You certainly don't understand even the 5 internal values, which is supposed to be the feminine part of the value system. That's supposed to be your wheelhouse, and you don't got no understanding of that. You don't have a working knowledge of that. So when they come up here and talk about Black women are successful in what way? Because out of one side of your mouth, you talk about all of the financial and professional and educational success that you have as a group of Black women. And then on the other side of your mouth, y'all talk about the wage gap and how much less you're earning than white women and white men. Which is it? Which is it? Are you successful or nah? Thank you, Miss 39 Dina. You successful or nah? Because you can't be struggling with the wage gap and standing on everybody's neck financially. So you are not successful at all. You're not successful in the internal values, the spiritual, the health, the family, the appearance, the dwelling. You're not successful there. And those are the internal values that women are supposed to specialize in. So you're not successful as women. You're not successful as pseudo men, because white men and white women, according to y'all and y'all statistics and the wage gap and the gender gap and blah, 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 out earn you, and they have a better educational track record than you do. So you're not successful there either. You're at the bottom rung, aren't you? And just because you call yourself, quote unquote, above Black men in these areas, that doesn't actually make you above them, because I'm going to tell you something that y'all fail to understand. And it's a refusal at this point. I know that it's a refusal. Thank you, Well B said facts. It's a fake flex. Every demographic of women have more degrees than their men. However, every demographic of men earn more than their women. Exactly. The degree, I'm going to tell you what you don't understand. The degree educational system is a debt trap. It is a financial trap. The college degree, the bachelor's degree in 2023 is not any more valuable than a high school diploma. A bachelor's degree in 2023 is not any more valuable in the workforce or in the professional realm than a high school diploma. Do we understand that? Having a bachelor's degree, especially the stuff y'all get bachelor's degrees in, is not any more valuable than having a high school diploma is. Maybe back in the 90s, it was a flex to have a bachelor's degree of any discipline. In 2023, it is not. The only degrees, thank you, Stardust, Spirit of the Most High, said can't file bankruptcy upon it either. No, it's just the debt you owe the U.S. Department of Education. Okay? That is how the U.S. Department of Education makes money. It makes money off of school debt. The debt you get in for tens of thousands, at times hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that degree, because it accrues interest over time. If you don't keep up payments, they will default. This is where a lot of y'all bad credit come from. Okay? Thank you again, Saul. Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart. Said Scroll of Re-Education 8-1. Thine she heathen so heralds the certificate and all its ornamental filigrees, but thine degree is only the degree to which one learns the critical thinking tools, but rebukes it for liberation of her own mind because of hubris. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Black women, by and large, fail for the degree trap. Here is the degree trap. Because you were tricked into thinking that getting a college degree was automatically the pathway to wealth, that it applied prestige to you, and that it somehow equated with gaining a better skill set in order for you to do more, work more, and earn more. That was the trap of it, because they told us, especially Generation X, they told us to get a higher education meant that we would earn more as adults over time, that we would have more of our earning power, that we would have a better skill set than the laborer and the essential worker, and we would be more valuable in society in that manner. And so we should sacrifice, even if we have to take out all manner of loan to get this education and to graduate, to get these degrees, so that we can present them to someone else's corporation or whatever, and we'll be able to get higher positions and thus the higher pay that goes with these positions. That is a lie. That's a lie. The only degrees that pay for themselves, the reason why it's a lie is because a lot of these bachelor degrees that y'all are getting do not pay for themselves. And how do degrees pay for themselves? Degrees pay for themselves by allowing you to enter into the professional field for which you studied, and to enter into that field at a pay scale that automatically jumps you to a different tax bracket, and you can begin to actually earn enough to both live on and pay the debt of the education that you received. Most of the degrees do not pay for themselves. Now you got universities, quote unquote, that you don't even have to physically attend. The Phoenix University and all of them, WGU or whatever. You know, it's a bunch of them now. Okay? Thank you, Ruminant said Black women are more classist than Black men, and as much as white people. They don't acknowledge their impoverished sisters while they stunting them worthless degrees. Exactly. The only degrees, first of all, the only professions that you truly need the degree for are not even bachelors. Most of them are doctorates, masters type degrees. The only fields in which the higher education and the degree pays for themselves are STEM and medicine. Okay? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and medicine, and higher medicine. I'm not talking about your little CNA license. That's not paying you nothing. I'm talking about becoming a doctor of any discipline, whether you're going to to be a pediatrician, whether you're going into dentistry, if you're going into being a surgeon of some type, whatever your discipline is going to be medically, you need the degree for that. You must go to medical school. You must go to law school if you want to practice law. I'm not talking about being a paralegal. I'm talking about an actual working attorney, because once you go to law school, for instance, you actually have to become a working attorney. So you got to be good at it, and then you need to be hired by a law firm. You are not going to get that and go right into a private practice. Just like if you become a doctor, no matter what discipline you choose in becoming a doctor, you got to do your residency first. And you don't just walk into a private practice. You have to be working at a hospital, typically a general hospital. In Chicago, a lot of doctors and nurses do their residency at Cook County. They may do it at Rush, but it's typically Cook County Hospital, what they call Stroges now. If you're from Chicago, it's Cook County. So they're doing their residency there to get the experience, the working experience of being a doctor. Only after years of that and becoming highly recommended by their patients is it worthwhile for a doctor to enter into a private practice. You need clientele for that. So if I worked for the last 10 years at Cook County as a general practice doctor or internal medicine, and I have high reviews, accolades, I have people that trust me as their doctor that will follow me as their doctor, now I can feel secure enough to try to open my private practice where I'm affiliated with a hospital, but I run a private practice. You come to my office to see me. Thank you, Preen. Thank you so much, sweetheart. The nurse juris doctor says when one passes the bar exam after graduating from law school, they can hang their own shingle and practice law as an entrepreneur. And I'm going to take that because of her name. I'm assuming that she got her JD. So she would know what she's talking about. Not every lawyer is wealthy. Not every lawyer is all, lawyers are all not the same. You got really good lawyers that are excellent at what they do. You got lawyers that suck. Just like you got doctors that are excellent at what they do and doctors that suck. So you're going to have to be good at what you do and gain that reputation in your profession. And that is how you excel in any profession that you choose. So a lot of these degrees that y'all are getting don't mean anything. They do not even pay for themselves. You go and get these bachelors in liberal arts, you go and get these bachelors in psychology and this and that, and then y'all don't even know how to maneuver after you get that degree. What do you need to do now in order to make that lucrative for you? Y'all don't even know how to move. Y'all having other people write y'all thesis. Now, you want to talk about how Black men do not go and get the degrees because that's your measure of whether or not they're going to be successful. The trick and the trap, the get you gotcha is that Black men don't go to these universities to get these degrees because many times they do not need them in order to enter the professions that make the most money. And the men have understood what the women have not. It's a debt trap. You'll be paying for that degree the rest of your natural life. If you do not enter and make good on the profession that's going to pay for itself, you'll owe the United States Department of Education for the rest of your life. It'll follow you the rest of your life. Because y'all get them degrees and then you open up an LLC to sell lashes. What was the point of getting a bachelor's in gender studies if you got to open up an LLC to sell bundles and lashes? What was the point of the degree? You spent how many thousands of dollars? How many hundreds of thousands did you take out in loans just to get an LLC, and then you don't even know how to move with an LLC? Y'all just going to get LLCs. It don't take nothing to register your business in your state as an LLC. That's a sole proprietorship. You have not even done the work in order to graduate from the LLC to the corporation. You're not even a corporation because your business don't make money. You have no assets to protect. That's why your collective net worth is nothing. Because Black women have not understood wealth and nothing else. The successful Black woman is a myth. Y'all don't know how to be successful. Y'all don't know how to be successful. Yeah, I run an LLC. And it's a boutique where? Oh, it's online. And what's the online traffic? What website? Where's your website? Do you even pay for the domain name to your website? Or do I got to type in something stupid to get to your website? Where? The men have understood not to get into the debt trap. The men have understood not to get into the debt trap. Society, white supremacy, brainwashed Black women into thinking that the way towards wealth is owing money to the U.S. Department of Education. And then working in somebody else's corporation and business to make them rich for a salary in a job, in employment that is not guaranteed. And if the pandemic did not show us that having employment was not job security, I don't know what you need. A lot of people was furloughed off of them jobs, never to recover. Because that is not wealth. And that is not how you acquire wealth. And that is not how you maintain wealth that is acquired. Wealth has nothing to do with your income from a job. Everybody that's wealthy don't have a job. The wealthy people do not have jobs. They don't file W-2s unless they're a corporation that pays them and they pay themselves from it. Other than that, they do not file W-2s from somebody else's corporation. If they're filing a W-2, it's because they're incorporated. And from that corporation, they have separated themselves from the business and the personal entity. And now through their business, they may pay themselves a reasonable living wage and can file W-2s on their personal taxes and file as an S corp for their business taxes. Come on. If y'all are not filing different taxes, stop talking about you successful and you elite and you date down. Stop that. Knock that off. Knock that off. Because for all of that money that Ebony K has, her net worth is $2-3 million. How much of that is safeguarded from the IRS? All of that is her taxable income. The vast majority of that, if she doesn't have a corporation that she can shelter her money with, the majority of that money is taxable income. The IRS just eats fat. It's not wealth. Wealth don't have nothing to do with your income. The brainwash has been successful. You know what? I'm going to let y'all chew on that. And we are going to go to a break. So after these messages, we'll be right back.
Average game truck parties are a virus, but gamer versus gamer is the cure. Gamer versus gamer. Gamer versus gamer. Gamer versus gamer. Gamer versus gamer.
Happy birthday.
Gamer versus gamer. We look forward to treating your child like the most important kid in the world on their birthday.
versus Gamer. Thank you so much for my birthday party.
Hello. You know, I love to see the children having fun, and your child could be among those having that much fun. If you click the link that I just pinned at the top of the chat, gamerversusgamer.com, they are a wonderful company that really stand behind family values. And one of the biggest values that they stand behind is making sure that your children understand how much they're loved and cherished by you as a parent by throwing them an extravagant party where you don't have to worry with all of the minor details of putting it together. The good people at Gamer versus Gamer actually put the parties together for you, including cleanup, including showing up with the venue, including catering with food, and making sure that the children are completely occupied, and all of these good things. By showing up with a 30-foot trailer, they're making sure that the children are not in danger. They're somewhere where they can be safe and where they can be supervised, and making sure that they're having just all the fun that they can possibly have, and that all of that pressure for planning that party is actually taken off of the shoulders of the mother and father. So if you are in the Atlanta metropolitan area, you or anyone that you know with children whose birthdays are coming up, you definitely want to do them and yourself a favor by clicking the link at gamerversusgamer.com. Go to their website, give them a call, and they will help you to write your child a love letter. I'm going to get to these super chats, but first I owe y'all a bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button, bam, bam. You got to, Go ahead and hit that like button for me so that we can get into the algorithm the correct way. Thank you so much. Let me get into these super chats. I know I have probably missed a few. If I missed you, then please forgive me. I don't mean to. Thank you, Stardust. A liability subtracted from assets. Exactly. That is net worth. Thank you, Phineas said, we as a people do not understand the financial return of self-investment and work. The biggest low-risk return on your money is self-investment and work. Exactly. And we don't believe in ourselves. And I'm going to really talk about that. Thank you so much, Chef DC said, thank you. I had to donate because everything you just said is correct. Thank you so very much for that generous contribution. Okay, so now we're going to get back to the cook. Here's why that brainwash is so effective, and it is a vicious cycle that Black women enter themselves into, because it feeds into the independent thing. But more than that, by setting up the expectation that a degree is synonymous with a pathway to wealth, and also saying that Black men do not get the degrees and therefore are not on the pathway to wealth, is a way to keep Black people collectively impoverished mentally and financially, physically, in the physical world. Because the thing is this: Black women, by and large, have ignored the fact that men have always been able to build wealth outside of the educational system. Men have always been able to build wealth outside the trap of the educational system. Because men can do what kind of work? Men can do what kind of work? Men can labor. And there are always labor jobs. They may have taken a lot of the manufacture in terms of assemblies. There used to be a lot of the steel mill in Gary, the Ford plants in Detroit, the various, they took a lot, they did. However, there's still labor. There are still labor jobs available, trade jobs available that you can't outsource to other countries and things of that nature. There's still workers of industry that can always do physical labor. And not only physical labor, but men are more involved in what? STEM. Men are more involved in STEM. Not because there is a discrimination against women for STEM, but men are more biologically predisposed to STEM, to the sciences, the technology, to the engineering, and to mathematics, because it appeals to logic and reason. These are professions that do not depend upon emotionalism or feelings or socializing or any of the things that women have a tendency to lean towards in profession. Men have a tendency to lean towards things that he can build with his hands or build with his mind, or a combination of both. Most of the men that I know that are wealthy or are on the pathway to wealth do not have university degrees. They do not, unless they absolutely needed them for the work that they do. Now, they do have certificates of trade. They do have certifications for trade that they are in. Plumbers, electricians, carpenters, and things of that nature. You need certifications for that. But there are men that I know of that have been in these industries for 20, 30 years. Men can always do the work that women cannot do, and they don't need to fall into the debt trap. That is why Black men's net worth is collectively higher than Black women's net worth, because you can't have a high net worth with debt. You cannot amass wealth with student loan debt, because that is a bad kind of debt. It's not a good debt. And there is a such thing as good debt. But car notes and your degree, your university debt, your school debt, your student loan debt, bad debt. Bad debt, horrible debt, horrible debt, because it's nothing but a liability. It can't ever go into the asset category. It's always a liability. Always. Thank you, Coffee Cafe. A Coffee Cafe said, some women will go to college, spend countless amount of time, money, and resources on degrees and certifications for a career that only guarantees you will never make enough, but invest nothing but prayers in a man of value. Exactly. And thank you so very much. Student loan and car note debt is bad debt. Home ownership debt is good debt, because eventually you own. And I'm talking about a home that you pay for before 30 years is up. I'm not talking about a 30-year mortgage. The debt you owe, the money you owe on property you own, good debt. Because eventually that goes from the liability to the asset category. It moves. And I'm not talking about the house you live in, because y'all want a turnkey house. Y'all want the house that's already ready. You ain't got to do no fixing up. Okay. You want $1 million house, a house that's worth $1 million. You're not supposed to pay $1 million for the house that's worth $1 million. You're supposed to pay like $450,000 for the house and make it worth $1 million. And then once you make it worth $1 million, move out into another house that you buy, because now you can afford the actual $1 million house and rent that house out. So now the house that you live in is not all the home that you own. Now the other house that you bought makes you money without you doing anything else. You just own it. It starts paying for itself. You're renting it out. The cost that you're renting it out for should cover the taxes, property taxes, utilities, things of that nature. Black women don't understand. I'm going to tell you how well it worked. I'm going to tell you how well this trap worked. That is the cutest ice cream little truck I've ever seen. It's almost like a rickshaw, and it was so cute. Anyways, thank you, Phineas. Said most women I know become professional students as long as they're in school. Student loan payments are deferred. You better, boy. They be 65 years old in school. What you in school for? What you learning that you ain't learned in 6.5 decades of living? What are you doing? Oh, you deferring that student loan? Can't make it on your own like that dorm, don't you? That dorm real convenient, because after a while, it'd be like you get an apartment. Thank you so much, Top Dog. So I was making $100,000 a year working in the oil field with a high school diploma. Thank you. Thank you again, Stardust, at subletting and house flipping, Airbnb. Yeah. I'm going to tell you how well this trap worked. Because Black women don't understand how wealth is accrued, and they think they date down and settle and marry down for the blue collar trade worker, labor worker, it keeps her away from him. Because he understands the educational trap of debt and she don't, he would actually be able to pull her away from that debt before she gets into it. This is the wisdom behind marrying young and not old. When you already made the mistake and you already owe money and are in debt. When you get married in your 20s, even if you are already in school, he can help you make a better decision about that. Do you need this degree? What you going to school for? A lot of y'all cannot even declare a major until way 2 years, junior year. You declaring majors way late. You don't know why you're in school. You're just in there. He can tell you, do not do that. Do not go to school to owe them people money for the rest of your life. That is how they make money. And you don't make none. You'll never be rich. You'll always be broke. Here, do this instead. You want to go to school? Learn something that's going to help us build. Learn a skill that's going to help us build. That's what you go for. I need you to do my books. You might need to go get some accounting certification. Go get that, because that actually helps. Go get something you can use, something you and your husband can use. I am not talking against a woman being educated. For the ones in the back that don't understand English, I am not saying that women should not get some type of education and you got to be stupid. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that y'all have fallen and you can't get up. Because the hole that you fell into is too deep. The well of debt, you are drowning in it. Stop acting like we don't know that. You know you don't live in a vacuum, right? You know you live with other people in the world that know how the educational system work and the finances and the banks and the student loans. And you do realize that y'all are not getting into these universities on scholarships. Y'all are getting into these universities through student loans. Y'all are not even really getting the grants. Y'all are getting flat out loans. You don't know how to negotiate them. You don't know how to negotiate the interest rate. You don't know what's a good interest rate or what's a bad interest rate. You going by what the loan officer is telling you. You going by what the bank is telling you. They're not telling you anything in your best interest. They're telling you things in their best interest. So if they say, oh, if you get into this loan, you only have to start paying it back at this particular time and your payments will be low, that's because your interest is high. Of course, your monthly payments can be low because the interest is going to be high. As long as you're paying a low monthly payment on your student loan, you are only paying the interest. You're not paying the loan. That's why you can't get out of it. You can't get out of student debt because the promissory note that you signed has all of the bells and whistles, but you don't understand the bells and the whistles. All that you know is that later on, your payments will be relatively low. That is because your interest percentage will be high. And the payment that you make, as long as you make that minimum payment, almost like a credit card, as long as you make that minimum payment, but you owe, you're only paying the interest. You are not paying the loan. You have to pay all of it to pay it off. How do you know this, Crimson Cure? Because I paid off all my student loan debt. You have to pay it all. Paying on it only keeps your credit good because your credit history will be okay. You make payments regularly, blah, blah, blah. But you don't pay the loan off. The purpose is to pay the loan off. Thank you, habitual line stepper. Sweetheart said, as a blue collar black man with only a bachelor's, I come to the realization that when dating black women with higher educational paperwork, they resent me for out earning them. Also, the more degrees, the more the indoctrination. Exactly. Thank you again, Stardust. Said principal amount versus payoff amount. Exactly. If you don't get a degree that pays for itself, it is useless. It's useless to you. It's useless to everybody. The only people that get paid off that useless degree is the United States Department of Education. That is who get paid. You get nothing. It's bad debt because once you pay it, you don't get anything. Once you pay, if you manage to pay off your student loan, you still don't get nothing. You don't get no cookie, a pat on the head, or nothing. You just got to give the U.S. Department of Education all your money. The only positive that came from that is that it cleared the debt. So I don't have debt. You cannot amass wealth with bad debt. So if you owe $300,000 in student loans and you make $150,000 a year, you're in the negative. Your net worth is negative. If you owe $300,000 in student loans and your income is only, it maxes at about $150,000, you are in debt. Your net worth is negative until you pay it off. Not pay on it, pay it off. Thank you again, Stardust. And once again, liabilities subtracted from assets. Exactly. Your income means nothing. That's why y'all don't really understand it. When we be like, well, how could, if black women are earning this and that on paper, and they're out earning the men on paper, supposedly, and more black women are having six-figure jobs, blah, 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 blah. How is it that your collective net worth is what at one point what was $5, $10? Why? How could it be so low? It's because you have to subtract the liability. Excuse me, you got to subtract the liability. You got to subtract your debt from that. Boo boo kitty. They didn't teach you that in your gender studies classes.
Since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing.
They didn't teach you how to calculate your net worth. No. Oh. They ain't teach you that in your Phoenix University psychology class. They didn't teach you how to do network. Oh, y'all better really knock it off. The successful Black woman is a myth because y'all don't understand success. Y'all don't understand what makes you successful as a woman. It has nothing to do with your income, has nothing to do with your education. It has nothing to do with your so-called tax bracket. That's the other trick in the trap. That's the other get you got you. They know you owe school debt, but they taxing the money that you have as if you are really in a higher tax bracket. They're taxing you like you really make that 6 figures. And then they hit you again with the student debt. Got to be more careful. So they hitting your taxes. That's to get you got you. They hitting that W-2. Because that's just money. Money that the IRS is going to eat. So you got the IRS on your plate eating off you. And then you got the U.S. Department of Education eating off you. He can eat off of you, but your man can't. Uncle Sam eat all day off your back. And you find that acceptable. It's not a flex to be in a certain tax bracket and you can't write nothing off. It is not a flex to be in a certain tax bracket and you can't write that off. Your whole setup should be able to be written off. The money you spend should be money that you can write off during tax time. Buying Birkin bags, shoes, clothes, cars is not write-off worthy. They don't let you write that off on your taxes. That's just money you spent. It serves no tangible purpose. Only when you buy a home, only when you put money back into a business at a significant rate, those things become untaxable, not part of your taxable income. So rolling up at tax time because you made 100K or better, but it wasn't in a business and you just got W-2s, all of that is your taxable income. Because you had to pay taxes out of each paycheck if you live in a state that take taxes. Because some states don't take state taxes. And if you're not vigilant enough to pay federal tax on your own, or if federal tax is not being taken, you owe it. At the end of the fiscal year, you owe it. Uncle Sam not playing with y'all. But he dangle that paper in front of your face, make you think you've done something worthy, and you have not. The only thing you've done is fallen into the trap. In the meantime, you have neglected being a woman. Where your actual success is and where your actual value lies, you've actually negated that value because you spent that time in your youth where you should have been cultivating your femininity and cultivating your womanhood and perfecting that. You gave those years to a system that's going to eat you for the rest of its life, for the rest of your natural life. And it is not going to miss one bite. It's going to eat you completely. It is going to consume you completely. It's not going to miss a beat. Spent all your time. I am the table, girl. Tables don't do nothing but stand there. And that's what you want to do. We'll talk about that another day. In any case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign off. Thank you so very much for all of your contributions. I greatly appreciate them. Let's see what we got on Cash App, because I've been kind of missing y'all on Cash App a little bit. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Michael, Miss Angela, Michael again, Boss Style again. Thank you so very much for all of you all's contribution. I greatly appreciate all that you do and all that you give of your hard-earned time and money. Thank you so very much. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Okay? Bye-bye, Crimsonites.